Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to be joined with Andrea with her film, Lilo. Let's take a look at the clip. Andrea, firstly, welcome to the New Filmmakers LA family.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you. And oh my goodness, thank you for bringing this most endearing, beautiful, gorgeous, realism, magical film to us. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Well, Leo is this love letter that I wrote to grief and to my hometown and to my grandmother. And it explores the journey of Leo, this little boy that has to overcome the death of his dad through his imagination in order for him to collect the corn of his harvest.
It's a little so sweet. I think it's so special when you make a film that's like a love letter and then you're able to sort of, share it like universally to the rest of the world. Because now we're all feeling something from the film too. When was the kind of moment in your, in discovering this story where you wanted to turn this idea in the film? Where did that inspiration come from?
Well, it was actually in COVID times. I was back in Mexico and the opportunity to create a film was like brought to me. I had to do this for a school project. And then I used to write like stories with my grandma and she was a teacher. So we used to be like together, like if I have a story, I was like, could you please see this? Could you please read it? Could you please check everything, grammar, spelling and all of that. So I was like, where is she now that I need her? So that was kind of like the question that kind of like led me to create Leo. So the locations that you see in the film, I can see them from my grandma's house. So it was like, okay, I'm just gonna go for a walk in the cornfields and then be like, okay, where is she now? And then that's kind of like how the story started to being like craft. And yeah, I went there to meditate a little bit. I saw the cornfields, I saw kind of like the story that I wanted to tell. And then as I was telling my mom and dad, my family, like, oh, I want to do this story for my grandma, it kind of like resonated with them as well. Of course, like the theme itself. And we built the story of our own like process of grieving. So it was me asking them like questions about how they used to deal with it until coming with this big idea of, oh, I think we need to think again like children and let us feel like children again in order to overcome this hard situation, like play, like once again do the things that we love in order for her to be proud of us in a way. So that's why I also like the concept of Leo being a kid, for him to teach us that we need to go back to our roots as children.
Oh, I mean, that's so beautiful. I mean, honestly, and how special it must have been to film, around those cornfields, around something that was familiar to you and to your grandmother's legacy and watch the love that she gave to you and your family. I think that was the thing about the film that I was just so captivated from the first shot. I felt the love. I felt the love I felt the love in the cornfields. I felt the love with the people, the characters. How did you go about developing these characters?
Yeah, well, as the farmers are actually my grandma's siblings, so
how special.
It was pretty special for me and for them as well to be portraying this story in her name.
Wow.
And how you see the dynamics of the farmers, and it's how my family actually works. So the one that I chose to be Leo's dad is my uncle, and he has always been giving me this, I don't know, I love his voice and I love how recomforting it is. So when my grandma passed, he used to say that everything was gonna be like okay. And hearing that every single time that he was visiting like my house and everything, I was like, this is the voice that I want to be guiding Leo as well. So it was like an immediately, it has to be you. And then the rest of the family, like how the lady that says, oh, like your games will bring him back. She's not a villain, but she's more into, we have to move on. We need to move on in order to collect the corn so that we have something, to eat. She's kind of like that. She's always been like the toughest of the family in order to protect them. So it's actually how my family works. So that's how the dynamic shape like their own like characters. And for Leo, It's a small town, so we kind of like know each other. We have a beautiful relationship like with neighbors and everyone like around the town. And we know his family since I don't know, he was a baby. Like it's someone that we know. And when I saw him like it was not like an audition per se. I was just like looking and walking like, hey, do you have like an old kid that wants to make a film? And he immediately started like running around the house and he said like, who's here to meet me? And I immediately said, okay, this is you. You have to be giving the life of this character.
I mean, it must have been an amazing experience for him. I mean, he did such a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got a very talented family as well. My goodness, like seriously, I said last night, it's amazing the amount of people, and I love that this was a dedication to your grandmother, but it was also a family affair in the team you brought in as well. Yeah. What was? I mean, again, I was because you had to. A lot of this was obviously exterior to going through the cornfields. I was thinking about, as a producer, I was like, what was that experience like? Like, how was it shooting this particular film? Like, what was it like?
I'm not gonna lie, it was a nightmare just because it's like so hot, even though it's like raining season, which it was also like
humidity, yeah.
I was so lucky that it didn't rain when we were like shooting, because that's like the season. That's why the corn is like super green. Like it's like harvest time, so it was like raining a lot. And in terms of like shooting with my family in my hometown, like I know exactly where to get like the resources, and my family was I don't know, by my side every single time. So it was a matter of us organizing, like I want them to feel comfortable. So it was just a matter of understanding, you know, like schedule, the location itself. So there were like a lot of trees around the area as well. So it was like a lovely picnic, and then let's shoot a film. So that's how we managed to shoot on an exterior location.
and as a director, like, you know, again, this is a very sentimental story. So I'm sure, you know, a lot of people knew the reason behind you making this story and kind of had a sort of empathetic understanding of what you wanted. But in your process as a director, how do you work with your actors?
I love this process so much, just because it started as just like conversations, like let's just talk about the subject, which at the beginning it was a little bit hard because it was not that recent, but still it was like something that, you know, that hurts. So me interviewing them about their own like process, getting to know like their own like stories helped me a lot in order to write the story, but in order for me to work with them and kind of like do a rehearsal. So they haven't been on camera before. It's just like their first time. So kind of like the strategy that I took was, let's make it like a play, because they're so used to plays. Like that's what the town sometimes do, like for Christmas and stuff. Like it's a cultural town, and let's just make it as a play. So we were just playing around from beginning to end, so that they kind of like get a sense of like the story, the rhythm, and the intention. So we didn't do that many rehearsals. It was just like, let's just rehearse like a week prior to the shoot. Let's make this beautiful play about like grieving. And then from there, I told them, hey, listen, this is not how it works. We cannot shoot from end to beginning in one like chronological order. So we're gonna break it down, but please imagine that it's still like the same. So
that's amazing. And what was there? I mean, because it must be special if you've not been on camera. What was it like when you showed the film to them? What do they think?
I think that has been the most like beautiful gift that someone has ever gave me, to me, like seeing like their faces and be like, I'm there on screen. That's also why this like film is important to me in terms of like representation. Like I think my favorite like screening that I've ever done was actually in my hometown, when I showed them the film, and them being like, oh, I'm representing this feeling that we all have. So for them, it's like they're so proud of what they did. And the feedback itself, like from the audience in San Miguel, Morelos, that's where I'm from. It was so lovely, because it's like, I've never seen myself on a screen. I've never seen this, you know, this idea of grieving represented in this way. So I just loved being there and sharing them with them as well.
I mean, I think it's such a journey when, you know, you've made a film, you've got an intention behind it. It's got a history, it's got a story, it's got a heart. And I really felt your film just showed a lot of heart, you know, and like I literally still feel chills from the way that you've got to watch it. But the way, you know, towards the finale, the ending was just like so beautiful and magical. And amazing, and it was just lovely, and I just love knowing the stories now behind these people. They're good on camera, and they're actors now. You know, they're amazing. I hope they're ready for their next role. What has been the most surprising thing for you? Because I think it's always interesting when, again, it's a legacy, it's a love letter. What's been surprising for you in making this project, or something that may have happened that you've learned from this film that you weren't necessarily expecting?
I was not. So when I was writing Leo, it was so easy to be like on location, because I went there to take a walk, meditate there, and kind of like craft the story when I was already there. So the editing worked the same way. So I was doing, like camera tests and all of that. And I was going back to the editing room just to check how I was going to be editing beforehand. So everything was like super, super planned. But then when I was getting there to shoot like the film, something in the schedule didn't feel like right. And I was like, okay, there's like something is blocking me, but I don't feel like it's a type of block that it's like, oh, don't make it, but just try to work around it. So it was, the location, as you see, it was like green cornfields because it was like raining season. And the nightmare that Leo goes through is when the corns are dried. So that was actually like a happy accident that I didn't plan, and it was out of my beautiful planification that I was having. And I didn't have the time to put that on the schedule. So it just hit me like, what if I wait for the corn to be dry in order for me to shoot this scene? Like, that was not intentional from the beginning. It was just gonna be like a normal nightmare scene in the cornfields, already green, like in the same time space. So
that was a good meditation. It obviously worked.
I was like, okay, then I will wait. So I think Leo has taught me to be so patient, like with the process, because sometimes if I wait for that moment, it will be better for it, because you're feeling that the film is gonna flow with what you need if you're being patient as well. Of course, do the things, but be patient, because maybe better things are coming your way. And in your creative process, I think that patience is something that I need to work with. So
well, that's good advice as well for filmmakers out there. It's really good advice, because you sometimes are caught upon these things, you don't know how it's going to go, but you rolled with it, and this is what you got. So that's amazing. I thought that was all set and preset, but who knew? So what's next for you?
Right now, I think I'm gonna go back to writing. I was working in this holistic congress back in Mexico about Mexican ancestral like medicine. So I was working like closing to this like people. So I gathered like a lot of information that I want to turn into narrative to show this other side of Mexico as well. I'm more like, I love magical realism, that's something that I always like fall into, but I want to explore that mystical of my own roots. So well, I really love that you made a film that made us also go into our own imaginations through the journey that you took your film and the story. It's so nice to kind of like not know where your imagination's been taken to from what you give us on the screen. So please keep doing that, and obviously please hiring your talented hometown, because they're amazing. But no, seriously, Andrea, thank you so much for your film. Thank you for bringing it to us, and keep making more movies for us, okay? Okay, yeah, will do. Thank you so much for welcoming me.
Thank you. Andrea, everybody.
Thank you.